Hello everyone, my name is Rafal and welcome to my vlog. So finally I'm back in Canada. I was neglecting my vlogs for the last month and I hope you guys forgive me. I was extremely busy and I focused that time to spend with my family, and I've decided to give myself a little bit of break because I don't spend much time in Poland, so those days were extremely valuable for me, so I can dedicate them to the people who are extremely important for me. So I'm back and I want to jump into this whole thing right away. I can promise you that I'm going to be doing more frequent those vlogs and share with you guys tips and tricks about headshot photography. So today I want to start with headshot critique. You guys have sent me a lot of amazing images and I can't wait to go through them and give you guys some of the feedbacks which hopefully will help you to improve them a little bit. A lot of them, they're extremely well done, so there's literally nothing to pick on, and actually, you know, they're really good images. Unfortunately, I also had to drop several images because they were more of a portrait full body style images, and I don't want to say something which might upset someone. I don't specialize in those kind of images, so I had to basically kind of take them out from this critique. I hope you guys forgive me. I'm sure there's a lot of other photographers out there who can actually give you more, I would say, valuable expertise on them. I'm not one of them. I only what I do is headshot, and this is what I can and I feel more comfortably to kind of share some of the experiences and share with you guys some of the opinions I have. I'm gonna try to be short and sweet and actually get to the point about those images. So without further ado, let's jump into those images and let's talk about them.
Okay, so now we are in Photoshop and let's one by one go through all those images. So the first image is from Kevin. Overall, I really like this image. There is literally nothing what I can pick on. Lovely girl, really lovely lighting, works really well for her. The one little thing what I can pick on is the retouching. It seems like there is some retouching done on her face, but the entire area of her neck was kind of left out. So quick tip, whenever you retouching headshots, make sure you not only focus on the face, you also focus on entire skin. So neck area, sometimes arms, whatever is visible, you have to actually retouch to make sure that everything is matching everything. But other than that, lovely image. Again, really nicely done. Congrats, this is really cool. Okay, so let's jump to the next one. Really nice image. I really like the lighting in this one. It seems like there is really nice balance between the background light and the light which was actually done on the person. Also, I really like that the colors of her hair matching a little bit the background. That kind of gives nice feel to it. What I'm not big fan of this image is the face expression. It seems like the person is kind of like I don't know, scared or terrified. There's some tension which I can see in her face. Another tip what I would like to say here is whenever you guys shooting headshots, make sure that the person you're shooting pushing the chin down. You want to make sure that you know, the way the person looks at you, the focal point is on the person's eyes, not on the chin. So whenever the person pushed the chin up, that's where my eyes go, to their chin, not to the eyes. But other than that, yeah, that would be only the one thing what I could pick on. Again, really nicely done. Okay, so this is really lovely image, really lovely girl. There's couple things which I could kind of like, we can go over all this picture. So I really like the lighting on this picture, but I think the lighting on the background is a little bit overwhelming. It seems like the background becoming actually overpowering the person. So I would definitely next time make sure that we put a little bit less light on the background, so again the focal point and the person will pop a little bit more on the picture. And the one more thing what I could pick on here is, and this is what I've said a few seconds ago, whenever you guys shooting headshots, make sure the chin goes down, and then the focus is on their eyes, not on the chin, and that's also kind of changes the dynamic of the picture. The images look a little bit better in my opinion, but it's just a kind of little thing which just changes everything. But when it comes to this image, really nicely done, really good lighting. I think yeah, working with that girl was super fun. Okay, so let's talk about this image. Really lovely lighting. I have to say the person who was shooting that knows the lighting really well. I really like the background effect, the bokeh. I don't know what that is, but it looks super cool and super artistic. Yeah, really lovely light. So there's a couple things what I would like to point it out here. I don't know what was the intention of the photographer here. I don't want to go kind of like discourage this shot, but I'm not a big fan of the pose of this person. It seems like the person is leaning back a little bit. I'm usually, whenever I'm shooting, I'm trying to kind of force people to lean forward, because then they become more engaging with the camera. But if that was the intention of the photographer, it's totally fine. And one little tip, because it seems like there is some retouching done on her skin, but the hair are kind of left out. So because we can see a little bit kind of flyovers here, that could be cleaned up a little bit better, and that would also give the image yeah, a little bit better look. But overall, really good shot. I really like it. You know, even the face expression is kind of cool. The person is squinting a little bit, so that's really neat. I really like it. Okay, this image really cool. I really like the lighting on this picture. There's really nice kicker light kind of going on here. This side is really nicely done. It seems like there is some kind of beauty dish used for this image. Really nice crop, typical headshot. Really nice retouching done. It's not kind of overdone. It seems like the person who was retouching this image left a lot of those things which give the person more natural look. The one thing what I want to pick on here is just the face expression. The person, and again, I'm not sure if that was the purpose of the photographer, or just the picture kind of have this kind of well, the photographer has some kind of goal with this to go that direction, but the person looks super sad, and I don't know what is the purpose of this image, but I think if the person could have a little bit more positive, I would say, face expression, also would give different dynamics, because the lighting is superb on this picture, but whenever I look at this picture, it makes me super sad. It seems like the person is going for some problem, issues, and it's just the sadness is kind of sent out for that image. And again, if that was the purpose, it's great. If not, yeah, that was something where I would kind of suggest to maybe make the person a little bit, especially the person looks super young, right? So yeah, we want to see in the young generation of people that they're a little bit more positive. But other than that, really lovely image. Okay, so this image, super cool. I really like the background. It seems like there is some aluminum foil going on the background. Really nicely done, really nice balanced. I'm not really, again, big on the pose here. When it comes to, depends what this image is used for. This look a little bit more glamour shot than the typical headshot. So depends, what was the purpose of this photo shoot. And also, I'm not really big fan of glasses. This is really tricky, I have to say, especially with shades. You want to see the eyes of the person, and in this case, this whole thing is kind of missing. But again, really nice retouch, really nicely done. I don't think it's even overdone. It's just kind of nice. Balance a little bit, I think a little bit overdone, but just a tiny bit. But I could kind of pass this. That's not big of a deal. But the shades, I'm not sure about that. When it comes to the typical headshots, you want to see the eyes. But this is, again, I'm not sure what was the intention of the photographer, but those are just my comments and two cents of my opinion to it. Okay, let's talk about this image. The first thing which just kind of hits me is the person's face expression. The person looks absolutely terrified. His eyes are right open. He basically looks like he saw the ghost or something. So you have to be very, very careful with that kind of like shoots that you want to make person look engaging, the person with the positive face expression, and in this case, basically the person looks really, really terrified. Really good lighting though. It seems like the person again knows how to balance the kicker light from the back and the main light. I'm not a big fan of the background. I don't know, again, what was the setup and how this whole thing was done, but it seems like there's some kind of fabric on the background. So I would blur this a little bit, or just move the person away, just to give the background a little bit more blur to it. And I would crop it a little bit tighter, because in my opinion, there's way too much negative space here. That's something which just kind of hits me right away. But yeah, other than that, yeah, good image, good lighting, just those little few things which could be improved. Okay, so in this case, there's a couple of things. Well, I really like the background here. It's kind of neat, and I don't know, it's kind of stretched and it's kind of like pixelated a little bit too much, but the effect is kind of cool. I really, really like it. I'm not sure about cropping the top of the head in this particular image. It seems like if that would be left out, this image, in my opinion, would look a little bit better. And I'm not sure also about what type of retouching was done, because the image is kind of blurred and the skin lost a lot of texture. So I'm guessing there was some frequency separation done here, and was a little bit overdone. But what I like about this image is definitely the lighting. It seems like it was really nicely done, but the retouching and the top of the head, I think should be left out. But other than that, really, really good image. Okay, so let's talk about this image. Lovely girl. You guys probably see what I was talking about, the chin down. So that's kind of is done in this particular image, which kudos for the photographer. And you guys probably see the focal point becoming the eyes right away, which is extremely important in headshots. So there's a couple of things which I could basically suggest to do better. Definitely, I've noticed that the skin is a little bit over retouched. The skin doesn't have a texture. So I would definitely, and I don't know what technique was used, but I'm guessing it was frequency separation. Just be very, very careful with frequency separation, because there's a couple things which makes the frequency separation tricky. First of all, when you work on the big file and there's high resolution, everything looks kind of cool, but then when you resize the image to the Facebook size, this whole thing gets looks like it's overdone. Sometimes, you know, like when you're retouching looks okay, but then when you scale down with pixels, this whole thing's getting kind of like, just looks kind of weird, right? So I would be very, very careful. I suggest to use dodge and burn technique because it definitely doesn't ruin the texture of the skin, and whenever you shrink the image to the smaller size, all the detail is preserved, and then you're not losing that. So in this case, you can see that the texture is completely gone. I'm not sure if the chest area was done or was just left out, but you can see a little bit of texture here, and that's how this whole thing should look like. But other than that, really good image. I really like the face expression. It's pretty cool. It's engaged and focused on the camera, which is extremely important, and really nice lighting. So kudos for Jason for doing such a great picture. Okay, so in this case, I'm guessing that was shot on somewhere outside. There's more ambient light. I can see there's some reflection in her eyes from strobe. I'm not really like I'm not sure about the toning of that image, and I don't know what the photographer have done it, but in my opinion, it's a little bit off. Also, I'm not big fan of, you know, kind of green backgrounds and shooting in the parks, because what happens is, and I actually experienced that several times, whenever you shoot in the park and you have reflection from the green trees, green leaves, the skin becomes really kind of getting this green weird tone to it and doesn't look natural. It looks kind of sick. So you have to be very, very careful whenever you're shooting in those areas, because you have to overpower this. And I can see in this case there's a lot of green in her skin, the tone, so you can definitely remove that in Photoshop and whenever you're doing your retouching, but that's something which is extremely tricky. But lovely face expression, and again, chin down. When it comes to shooting, then the focus would be more on her eyes than on her chin. And I think also the photographer shot this image from kind of low angle, because it's kind of looks like, you know, she's looking down a little bit. So that's something what I would suggest to, again, make sure whenever you're shooting, make the person lean forward to engage with the camera and engage with you, and it is much easier to control the head and, you know, pushing the chin down. This image, the person looks much more natural. But good job. You know, there's something always we have to learn and test and then see how this whole thing's gonna look like. And I want to say that there's a little bit kind of overblown here, and you know, like my eyes, instead going to her eyes and her face, they're going to this overblown area. So whenever you guys shooting, make sure that you don't have those spots, because they're really distracting, and they just do a lot of damage to the picture. Wow, okay, this is amazing, pretty cool. Well, let me start with saying that the background looks absolutely amazing. I really like circles, the bokeh. This is pretty cool. The cropping and the framing the image also really nicely done. So there's a couple of things which, in my opinion, could be improved to give this image, you know, a little bit different impact. I'm seeing that the skin is a little bit over retouched, especially for the guy. Whenever you retouching a male, you want to make sure that you leave out some of those stuff to give that roughness, to give that you know, the guy look, because when you clean up too much, then the skin kind of looks weird on the person, and you're just making the skin looks more feminine. So that would be the first tip. And I'm guessing there's frequency separation down to this to his face, which again, I'm not a big fan of it. the skin looks very, very plasticky and doesn't look natural. So you guys have to be very, very careful with that. And there's a couple little things. There's some reflection underneath, like in his eyes. I'm guessing this is from a reflector. And in this case, it looks like he's crying or something. So you also have to be careful whenever you have this reflector to position the reflector the way it doesn't look like this. That was just the kind of my first impression when I saw this. If this guy is crying or what's going on here. But that's just from the reflector. When you look closer, you can definitely say this is reflector. And the last thing is, again, what I was saying before, the chin down. Chin up gives you this kind of person look like he has some kind of attitude and he's kind of angry. Whenever you guys see people are fighting, they try to be taller and they push the chin up, and that's the kind of like feeling what I'm getting when I see image when someone has a chin up. So if he could push the chin down a little bit, that also kind of would remove this reflection from their eyes and would look a little bit different. But other than that, outstanding lighting. I think the person who was shooting that did a really good job on this. It's just the little things which could be addressed throughout a shoot to make this image look a little bit better. But other than that, fantastic image. Okay, so let's talk about his image. So I'm not a big fan of the background. I think it's a little bit overpowered. So the person who was shooting it, Joel, just kind of scale down the power of the background because it's just so overpowering. And it's also kind of overblown. So you just lost a lot of detail and pixels here. Also, what I would pick on here is the retouching. That could be improved a little bit better. I'm guessing that, again, that was some frequency separation down here, which just kind of like destroyed the skin texture a little bit. And also, I'm not a big fan of the pose. You want to make sure, again, the person is engaging and is kind of leaning towards the camera. Then headshot looks kind of definitely better. When someone is leaning backwards or leaning back, it seems like the person wants to kind of go away from you. So this is just the kind of little things of the kind of like body language just to make the headshot look better. But I know, and I kind of see what you're trying to do is the match the dress to the background. That was clever, and I think you've done a good job on this. Just to kind of work on a little bit details here, and just do one step at a time, just to kind of make sure everything kind of is nicely balanced and then works well together. Because sometimes when we focus individual on each things and then we have to put them together, that's when there's some issues which needs to be they're going to be seen on the image. Okay, let's move on. Okay, really cool image, really nice lighting, beautiful girl, but unfortunately, again, this is actually the common problem, the skin retouch. It's way overdone. Again, the skin has no texture. Literally, person just butcher this whole thing. Be careful with retouching and just overdoing frequency separation. This is like one of the biggest issue I see when it comes to the retouching nowadays. And I know photographers, they want to have the skin looks really, really smooth and nice, but sometimes we have to be very, very careful, because what happens is when we overdone, the image is like literally destroyed. And that's what happened, I think, in this case. You have beautiful girl, you have beautiful smile, you have beautiful lighting, and the retouching just literally destroyed the beauty of this image. And this whole thing turns into like one plastic thing here, which just doesn't look good. So whenever you do, next time make sure you kind of scale down at least half of it, and then you will see your images, they will look much better. But good job on lighting. I think that was really nicely done. And also the face expression is pretty cool, but yeah, the retouching is just way overdone here. Okay, so next image is from Brian. So there's a couple things. I'm not sure about the head position here. Looks kind of weird to me. Yeah, you have to be careful with those stuff. I know sometimes we're trying to different poses and doing person different things, but I think in this case this just looks kind of weird. And another thing what I want to point it out, which just kind of strike me right away, whoever was doing a makeup for the person, probably you see the tones on her chest area and her face, they completely don't match. They kind of separated. So you can either do this in Photoshop just to kind of match it, or whoever is doing makeup, make sure next time you can ask the person to do all this open area, whatever the skin is visible, to match all the colors, because that's you have to spend the time later on to fix all this stuff. So those are those little things which you have to be careful. And whenever you shoot and you kind of download those images to your computer, they become so obvious, and then you have to just spend time on this. And yeah, it's sometimes really time consuming. So but other than that, yeah, nice lighting. I really like this like really soft and cool background, which is not overwhelming. Yeah, those are just a couple things which I would just suggest to make sure next time you done properly. Okay, so beautiful image. I'm a big fan of black and white. I'm not sure, sometimes there's huge discussions if the headshot should be black and white or not, but in this case, yeah, this is really lovely image. The one thing what I could point it out here, and this is not a big of a deal, like I don't want to just kind of sounds like I'm just picking on everything, but when it comes to her eyes, you want to make sure you have, especially when you're shooting studio lighting or some strobes, whatever, you want to have visible lighting in her eyes, because that's what kind of is going to draw you attention to her eyes. And this whole thing, there is something, but it's kind of missing. So next time, make sure that the catch light is more visible, and that would just make this image that would give the image much more impact. They would just, whoever will be looking at the image, their eyes would go straight to her eyes. But other than that, really nice image, lovely lighting. Yeah, the face expression is spot on. Really good stuff. Okay, so yeah, so I don't even know how I can kind of approach this image. First of all, I can see that there's some artistic intention behind this picture, and I really appreciate that people try to kind of go outside the box and do something different, and I think would be a lovely image, because the face expression is kind of is interesting, is different. The pose is also kind of cool, but again, the retouching is pretty overdone here. You can see this entire area here is just literally butchered with frequency separation, and also the hair, it's not fixed. There's a lot of flyovers that could be cleaned up just to kind of give the image a little bit more impact. The toning also is a little bit off. So what I want to say is, especially with those type of images, just be careful with retouching. And I know, again, I'm going to repeating myself over and over again that photographers, they want to have that smooth skin and all this stuff, but sometimes it's better to leave stuff out instead overdoing them and just basically destroying the skin. And basically you're going to make the image looks worse, right? So whenever you have this kind of situations, just kind of take a deep breath, step out, leave it, and then you will see people will more appreciate it, some of this natural things than kind of Photoshop and overdone skin and all this stuff. So that would be my suggestion. But I really appreciate that, to kind of stepping outside the box here and being more creative. I think yeah, this is really cool image. But if you could take a little bit of softer approach to retouching, that would just definitely bring that image completely kind of different feel and impact. Okay, this is pretty cool. Really lovely image. I'm not sure if there was natural light or there's some strobes. I can see something going on here. Yeah, there's not much. I really like the retouching on her skin. You can see here that there's a lot of stuff left out, which just makes the image looks natural. I think that the eyes are a little bit overdone in my opinion. They're way too bright, but again, this is just in my personal taste. If they would be left out a little bit, the image would look a little bit more natural. And also I would clean the hair a little bit more, just to kind of give the image more clean feel to it. But other than that, it's a lovely image, and I really love the skin retouch on this because it looks very, very natural. Okay, this is pretty cool. A really nice image. I'm not a big fan of the crop of this picture, and I don't know, it was maybe intention of the photographer. It's kind of like odd, it looks like it was made more for like some kind of campaign or some kind of poster that would look pretty cool. But for like the headshot, that's kind of weird cropping in my opinion. And in my opinion, again, the retouching is a tiny bit overdone. I know sometimes especially for the poster or some kind of campaigns, those pictures are definitely, they have to be done a little bit overdone, because that's the kind of how this entire industry works. But I think for just a regular headshot or even for the beauty shoot, you want to just make sure that the skin looks as natural as possible. So in this case, a tiny bit overdone, not too much. I kind of trying to understand the direction of the photographer and which direction he was trying to go. But this is just a kind of my personal that. But lovely lighting, a great job on that part. That's really nicely balanced and it's just spot on. But just the cropping and this retouching, which I could just kind of took a little bit of different approach. Okay, pretty cool image. Really nicely done. A really nice lighting. I really like the background toning, matching his beard and stuff. This is pretty cool. Lovely face expression. Yeah, there's not much what I can kind of pick on here. I think this is really nicely done. Also, I want to say that the cropping is well done here as well. Yeah, just kudos. Like there's nothing what I can actually picked on here. Good job. Okay, this is really nice image. I love those kind of images where you can really see the personality of the person. Really nicely done. Again, there's not much what I can kind of picked on here. I'm not sure if this is just a low resolution, but the texture kind of the skin lost a little bit of texture here, but I'm guessing this is just from decreasing the size of the image. But yeah, really cool. Yeah, I would love to shoot one day someone like that. Those kind of people just give you just the kind of energy to express your kind of photography skills, because those are really cool looking dudes, and like the pictures always turn out really well. So good job on this one. I really like it. Awesome job. Okay, pretty cool image. Really good lighting. I really like this kind of like the background. I'm guessing this is from the strobe. The pose is kind of weird, but actually works in this case. I have to say that kind of looks pretty neat. I'm not a big fan of the face expression, and especially his lips. It seems like they're really tight, so the person looks kind of nervous. But that's again my feel from it. But other than that, yeah, it looks kind of really neat. I really appreciate the creativeness behind this picture. Even, you know, this whole thing kind of, when you start analyzing, looks kind of really odd, but when you look at this image from kind of distance, you know, you get where the person was going with this. So good job, very fantastic lighting. I really like the person is lit over here. It's pretty cool. But yeah, just the face expression kind of looks kind of, I don't know why, but yeah, this is just the kind of, when I look at it, I'm just getting this kind of weird feeling. But other than that, really awesome. Wow, okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah, one of those images where there's nothing to pick on. Looks like a Dylan Patrick style. And yeah, it was executed really well. Yeah, good lighting, good face expression. The one thing what I can pick on, because, you know, like, that's why we are here, I think is there a little bit of too much redness in his skin. I would definitely remove that in Photoshop, but this is just a little minor thing, and I don't know, this is my screen or something, but this is just the kind of just too much red in his skin tones, but that just a little thing. But other than that, yeah, really good image. Yeah, hands down for Will, who shot that. Really nice. Okay, so the next image is from Charles. So let me start what I like about this image. Yeah, really nicely executed the background. It seems like, again, aluminum foil is in use here. But so there's few things. The image is a little bit oversaturated. I think the background is just yeah, just kind of is so bright and so saturated that just killing my eyes. And also the skin retouch, it's kind of like way overdone. The skin literally doesn't have texture, so I'm guessing the frequency separation was applied to this image. Yeah, so I would scale down saturation first, and I would go easy on the skin retouch here. So that was just two things, but I really like the face expression. It's pretty cool. I would definitely push the person to lean a little bit more forward, just to make the neck look a little bit longer, and just turn her a little bit to kind of one side. But other than that, yeah, those are those two things which, you know, like, you would have to start with to kind of like make sure you don't make those errors. But other than that, yeah, it's a good execution. Okay, pretty cool image. Yeah, basically nice face expression. I really like it. I would crop the image a little bit more because it seems like it's a square. This is a little bit maybe too much. I'll go just somewhere over here. And yeah, really nice retouch. It's not overdone. It's very gentle. Really nice background. Pretty cool. Nothing to pick on. Really good lighting, and you can see the kicker light here, the main lighting over here. Also, I can see some reflection from the reflector, which fills up everything over here really nicely. Really good job. I'm not going to be spending too much time because, again, there's nothing to pick on. Really good image. Okay, so this is from Hank. Really artistic headshot, really nicely done. again, nothing to pick on. I really like everything about it, from the retouching to the tones to the lighting. Everything is done really well. um, the one thing where I could picked on, actually I'm not gonna say anything, because like I'm trying to kind of find something at this point. But yeah, really nicely done, really creative, very interesting, very moody, really nice. Okay, so this image is from Pierre. So first of all, and what kind of hit me right away is this way too much negative space. So this has to be would have to be cropped to just give the image a little bit nice impact. I like the toning, the blues, and all this kind of cool background that looks really neat. The skin, yeah, it's done really nicely. It's not overdone. I would clean up a little bit just the hair. There's a lot of flyovers over here, just to give a little bit of polish to make sure the image looks much more clean. Yeah, and other than that, there's pretty cool, like really good face expression, nice balance of light, kind of powerful, I have to say, which makes this image, I think, more interesting. So that would be just my comment on this one. Okay, this image is from Igor, I guess that's how you spell your name. Yeah, another image which really nice, nice balance of lighting. Her face just pops right out. Nice bokeh, like the milky and really smooth background looks pretty neat. I really like. Also, what I really like about this image is like the hair also looks like kind of like blurred a little bit, which just kind of takes attention from it, and the main focus is on her face. Yeah, really nicely done. The skin is not over touch. I'm guessing this one was done with Dodge and Burn, and I'm guessing, but that's how I can see it. There's not much frequency separation. I'm guessing there's just literally nothing done. Yeah, really nice picture. Plus, the posing, for the headshot, I would kind of turn her a little bit towards the camera, but in this case, I think this whole thing works really well. Good job. Okay, so that image is from Daryl. So the first thing, I really like the background. This is pretty cool, pretty interesting, very artistic. So the one thing what I would pick on, whenever you're shooting headshots, you always want to make sure that the eyes are higher than in the middle horizontal line. Whenever it's like right in the middle, or it's just like below, that kind of looks really weird. So I would crop this a little bit different. I'll just crop it maybe a little bit tighter. I know she's got a beautiful hair, so you don't want to lose that. So what I would do, I'd maybe probably push it a little bit lower. So, but that has to be done whenever you're shooting, because when you crop like this, there's no way you can kind of recover that. But other than that, yeah, I have to say that the retouch is a little bit overdone in my opinion. Again, there is not much texture of the skin, and I don't know, because the image was decreased when it comes to the size, and then we've lost some of those stuff. But yeah, it's I can see that there's not much left, but really good face expression, good lighting. Yeah, those are just a couple things which I would basically implement next time to make sure this image looks a little bit different. Okay, so this is not a typical headshot, it's more like a portrait style, but I left that because yeah, I think it's very interesting, and in this case, what I want to actually point it out, how the photographer also kind of match the colors of the dress, and I don't know was done purposely or not, to her hair, and I think this is kind of clever because that gives the image kind of nice touch, and kind of there's some kind of balance of colors with the image, and also there's really nice lighting. I think this is done really well. I would definitely clean up some of the hair, just to kind of give the image a little bit nice kind of feel to it, so there's not much mess around the hair. Yeah, and I just want to kind of point it out that there's really good lighting with this image, and it was done really well. Okay, pretty cool image. I love the background. It's pretty neat, pretty interesting. Yeah, matches this whole feel to it. The one thing what I want to pick on again is the skin retouch. It's way overdone for the guy. Yeah, his skin is so smooth, it's just beyond belief. So I would leave it a lot of those, you know, kind of details, just to kind of give a little bit of roughness. And it seems like even the person itself, his personality, you know, would require have much kind of rougher look, but the skin is just you know, too clean, in my opinion. Plus I think was done through frequency separation, so that gives you another kind of like feel to it that was just way too much. But the cropping is amazing. That's done really well. The lighting also really nicely done. It's just a kind of skin retouch, I think, was just a little bit overdone, but other than that, it's just a perfect image. Okay, so again, one of those images I have a hard time to pick anything on. Really cute, really nice, good lighting. You can see in her eyes that there is some 45 degrees lighting. Again, and I don't know if this is something which, because of the image, was decreased when it comes to size. But again, we're going back to the square one when it comes to the retouching. I think the skin is a little bit overdone, and it's just too smooth. Even this is a kid, and she looks cute. She looks super nice. We have to leave the texture of the skin, because that's what makes the image looks natural and looks kind of, you know, looks better, right? But other than that, the lighting is spot on, face expression, cropping, everything is pretty nicely and really well done. Okay, so the next image is from Michael. Really lovely image. I really love the lighting on this picture. The background also complements the image pretty nice. And again, the skin retouch, you know, that's what kind of confuses me the most, because I don't see the full resolution for it. But it's kind of on the edge of being overdone. But based what I see is it's kind of okay. But yeah, we have to be very careful with that, because you know, as soon as it's overdone, it's done, and there's no way kind of going back. But love the face expression, love the lighting. Yeah, there's literally nothing what I could kind of like yeah, pick on more. Really good job. Okay, so this image is from Ed. Really lovely lighting. I think it's a little bit how I can describe this. It's too bright in my opinion. You know, there's no texture on her skin, and I don't know if this is done because of the lighting or the exposure of the post-production. I would have to have a little bit more details on that. So be careful. Sometimes it's better just underexposed image instead of overexposing, because you can still in Photoshop bring, when we are like underexposed, we can bring up some of the details, and then we're not gonna lose the texture of the skin. But if we kind of overdo it, then it's pretty much it's done, right? So I don't know in this case was just a post-production or just was shot that way. And another thing what I want to pick on here is the face, the lips. She's kind of doing like a duck lips. I don't know, this is kind of good for the headshot, but and I don't know if this is her natural look, but yeah, it seems like her lips are kind of tense. I would just make sure she's more relaxed, and we don't get that effect, because this is just the kind of something which I could see right away. But yeah, I think that the idea behind it and the execution went well. I would have to have a little bit more details to give you the kind of more honest feedback. This is basically what I see from the image. But yeah, good job. Like, I think it's overall it's really nice image. Okay, so pretty cool image. I like the face expression. Looks kind of tense. Really neat. This image is from Michael. You have to be careful. The one thing what I want to pick on this here, when it comes to the eyes, because this area over here, in my opinion, doesn't have kind of balance between those two sides. And I don't know if you have some kind of like the kicker light, because there's no separation here. But I would definitely fill up this a little bit more with the light. You can also do that in Photoshop, but that was just a one little thing. Other than that, yeah, there's not much what I can kind of pick on here. Yeah, the retouch here, again, I'm not sure. Seems like there is something done, but again, this portion is done, but this entire area is left out, right? So that's another thing what just kind of see that it's uneven. But other than that, yeah, quite interesting and really cool shot. Okay, so this is from Jim. Yeah, I really like the background and I really like the moodness of this picture. Also, I think the face expression is quite interesting. I would crop it a little bit tighter just to kind of give the image a little bit more impact, and I would just work a little bit more on the retouching. It seems like the skin has a lot of redness. There could be something done to kind of take this away and give the image a little bit more natural, I would say, look. But other than that, yeah, again, chin down, which is kind of good because the focal point is on his eyes, and I'm guessing for the picture this is like the portrait of Jim. So yeah, really like the face expression on this one. Really interesting, and the lighting also is yeah, it's really nicely done. The image just needs a little bit more retouching just to kind of bring this to the next level. But other than that, it's pretty cool. Okay, so this is quite interesting image. There's again, the oversaturated. This is the first thing which kind of comes to my mind when I see this picture. The skin is literally overdone way too much. There's no texture. Everything looks kind of like even out way over top. And also, whenever you guys shooting headshot, make sure when it comes to hands, you don't want to have fists in the picture, because that kind of gives and sends the wrong signal. So you want to make sure the hand look soft, delicate, especially when you're shooting women. You don't want to have a fist, but this is something which you have to pay attention throughout a shoot. But yeah, quite interesting kind of pose. Yeah, I would definitely push the chin down, as I mentioned before, but yeah, the skin is just way overdone, right? Yeah, scale down whatever you're doing next time. Make sure you don't destroy the skin, because that just kind of destroy the entire image. But the color, the colors are also oversaturated. I know it seems like the red and the greens kind of work together really well, but it's way oversaturated. But yeah, it's a good intention, and I think this is a first step to get the images to the next level. But I think these are the mistakes which all of us are doing at the beginning, and we also have to go through that process step by step. Okay, so this is from Justin, inspired by painting. Yeah, quite interesting image. Yeah, I see the inspiration. I would love if the person would look at the camera. That would just bring a little bit more impact. But if that was the intention of photographer, I completely respect that. Yeah, the retouching on this picture is also not overdone. It's very delicate and very smooth. So yeah, lovely image, very creative. Seems like, you know, I love when people taking some inspiration from paintings and try to implement them in their photography. This is the best way to learn new things and explore photography. So kudos for Justin for doing that. Okay, so now I'm guessing we are the last image here. Really nicely done. This is a kind of creative picture and creative approach. Really nicely done when it comes to picking up the colors, and makeup also is quite interesting. Again, I'm not sure about the skin retouch. I think it's a little bit overdone, especially this area here. You can see that there was some frequency separation done, and it was pushed a little bit too much. And also I would clean up the hair a little bit more, just to kind of give the image a little bit more cleanness. But the lighting itself is pretty cool and it's really neat. I think that looks super cool and very artistic and creative. So good job, Chris, for you know, pushing the boundaries and you know, trying to kind of do different things, and then you know, creating headshots which are not kind of like typical. There's some interesting thing about them, and you adding some components which just make this images look more interesting. Okay, so that was the last image. I hope I was giving some feedback which helps you guys improve. If you have any comments, if you want to add something to it, please feel free to leave the comment down below, or just message me or email me. I'll be more than happy to yeah, basically be in touch with you guys and respond to your emails, and yeah, give you even more information which will help you. So thank you for watching. I know that was quite a long one. I'm sorry I couldn't go through all of those shots, but yeah, I would spend another couple hours you know, doing that. But I think those images which I found very interesting, and they need some feedback, I show them through this vlog. So stay tuned. Thank you for watching, and I'll be in touch with you guys very soon. Bye bye.